This season, Instacart has your back to school. As in, they've got your back to school lunch favorites like snack packs and fresh fruit. And they've got your back to school supplies like backpacks, binders, and pencils. And they've got your back when your kid casually tells you they have a huge school project due tomorrow. Let's face it, we were all that kid. So first, call your parents to say I'm sorry, and then download the Instacart app to get delivery in as fast as 30 minutes all school year long. Get a $0 delivery fee with your first 3 orders while supplies last. Minimum $10 an order. Additional terms apply.
We acknowledge the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and recognise their continuing connection to land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Welcome to This Song Is Yours, a music podcast where we chat to a new guest each week, talk about their life and creative endeavours, and talk to them about some of the music they love. Our show works by chatting to our guests about music, but also getting them to make you a playlist of the songs they love. You can find the link to our playlist in the show notes. Welcome to episode 38. I'm your host, Simon Fink. Our guest today is Manchester Orchestra. The indie rock band from Atlanta, Georgia, are releasing their new record tomorrow, entitled The Million Masks of God. In today's episode, we talk about the new record, how writing music through grief helps, and the band producing music for Paris Jackson. Here we go. Our guest today is one quarter of US indie rock band Manchester Orchestra. After a few years' break, they're releasing their stunning 6th record tomorrow, entitled The Million Masks of God. Please welcome to This Song Is Yours from Manchester Orchestra, Robert McDowell. Hi, Robert. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you very much for your time today.
Absolutely.
Now, congratulations on the new record, The Million Masks of God, which is out tomorrow. It's the 6th record from yourselves, and similar to the last one, it's extremely cinematic and grand. What was the catalyst behind this new record?
I think with any record we're trying to evolve on what we've done, while also take everything we've done as a learning process as well. So when we went into this, we knew that we were very proud of Black Mile, but we didn't know how we were going to beat it. So it literally just took weeks and weeks and months of going up to the same cabin in Asheville and writing, and finally got to a batch of songs. And we knew that we were going to bring Catherine back in, but once we brought Ethan in as well, it was a new team and an exciting team. And it was just for the most part, the creation of this record was the most healthy record we've ever made. And so I look at it as a victory to have just created something without despair in the process of it, like in the actual hours of it. So I think that was our overall goal, was to just make something we were proud of and make something that would stand up in our catalog and that we would be proud of and would help push us on to album 7.
Of course. I feel like on this album, if you go back and look at the previous 6 from where you guys started to now, it is I feel like with each release it has gotten, more cinematic and more grand. Each time you go in to write a new record, is there a conscious effort from yourself and Andy to push those sonic boundaries and do something that you haven't quite done before on previous records?
Absolutely. I think in the initial process, it's how do we get the song to the best place where the song works as just a vocal and acoustic guitar, and then how do we then take that and make the best band version. But throughout scoring, throughout producing other bands, and also the career of Manchester, we've found that sometimes going down a rabbit hole will, even if it doesn't give you the answer, that you were looking for, it gives you an answer. So it's a big part of what Manchester is, to explore different routes rather than, okay, there's 4 people in a room. We know that we can do a version of that, and we've done it. And we did a version of that for all these songs. So for us, the adventure is, okay, what's the alternative version? Where can we take it in this verse to veer away from that?
Yeah, of course. I did. I read somewhere that yourself and Andy, when writing the songs, if the song sounded too traditional or almost like you could anticipate where it was kind of going, you guys would try and, I guess, change it, or I guess kind of mess with it, for lack of a better term. How important is it for you both to sometimes be able to subvert your audience's expectations and try and surprise them?
I think that ultimately we want people to enjoy this music. So in no way is it ever oppositional to what anyone wants. But for me, it's more of, how do I surprise myself? Like there's a certain feeling I want to have listening, because I will have to carry this album with me for the rest of my life. So it's more of, I want to surprise myself of when it gets to a thing being like, oh, that's right. And like your intentions were to do this, and then you went this way, but it feels natural. So I wouldn't say it's about surprising the fan as much as it's about surprising and exciting ourselves as a unit, if that makes any sense.
Yes. No, it does. You have to keep things fresh. It definitely makes sense. The new record, similar to the last one, is kind of designed to be played in one sitting and as a continuous piece of music. I heard that this was from the experience of scoring the movie Swiss Army Man. Mm-hmm. Firstly, what was the conversation like when you try and bring that element into, like you take it away from the movie score and you try and bring it into like an indie rock band kind of album?
Luckily, the other dudes in the band were very trusting, and when we started initially with Black Mile, we were sharing the reins with Catherine, and so she trusted us and the other guys trusted us. And it was kind of a win-win, because if we sucked at it, we would just have the songs end or like take out some of these sections. But we learned, as being the creative force as a supporting character with Swiss Army Man, that doing something so little can have such an impact to what the main thing is, that we wanted to try and apply that to music for the rest of our lives. So
my dad works in B2B marketing. He came by my school for career day and said he was a big ROAS man. Then he told everyone how much he loved calculating his return on ad spend. My friends still laugh at me to this day.
Not everyone gets B2B, but with LinkedIn, you'll be able to reach people who do. Get a $100 credit on your next ad campaign. Go to linkedin.com/results to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply. LinkedIn, the place to be, to be.
If there's one thing that my family and friends know me for, it's being an amazing gift giver. I owe it all to Celebrations Passport from 1-800-Flowers.com, my one-stop shopping site that has amazing gifts for every occasion. With Celebrations Passport, I get free shipping on thousands of amazing gifts. And the more gifts I give, the more perks and rewards I earn. To learn more and take your gift giving to the next level, visit 1-800-Flowers.com/ACAST. That's 1-800-Flowers.com/ACAST.
I think that we were so gung-ho on it that there was no telling us that we weren't going to do it. And so everyone was just kind of like, go for it. And luckily they were supportive. And for me, I grew up, my favorite albums were, when it would get a little cold outside, I could put a CD in and drive and just listen to it like that. So for me, an album is an experience, start to finish. And so we want to make that. I know it's not the way that music is consumed anymore, but I think that there's people who do want to consume it that way, and we want to make that available for them.
Yeah, definitely. I think that the album format, although it's becoming a bit of a singles world, it is still nice to be able to have that full body of work in one sitting. And it's sometimes it's almost nice to be and not forced to listen to it, but in terms of what you like, you want to hear it and you want to know what's next, and the fact that it kind of like strings it along helps with that experience.
I enjoy it because it's one of the few things that you don't have to look at a screen to do anymore. Of like, just sit on your back porch, put it on or put on headphones, drive, but just listen rather than watch.
Yeah, that's very fair. As mentioned, you guys have scored music. I know that you've been producing music as well lately. Is there a different approach when you're producing someone else's music that's like not Manchester related? And I guess seeing how they work, do you bring any elements of how you work to these guests or these clients?
Absolutely. I think that being an artist or producer, it's all creating art. And so it's a cool experience because you work with someone and you get to help their music become their vision or a shared vision, but you also get to learn how they create and how they interpret certain moments. And that's something that you can absorb and not steal, but be inspired by. And I think that there's such an importance to collaborating and learning what others have to do, learning how others react and sharing with them. And so for me, I just look at it as a way of opening up the world, the same way that the Daniels opened up their world to us with Swiss Army Man. It's like, I just want to share as many of these experiences with people so that I can learn what their entire journey was to get there and how they got there and how I can apply mine to theirs and they can apply theirs and how we can share a combined journey.
Yeah, of course. I'm very curious because I've heard this, and I'm not sure if it's correct, that you both produced Paris Jackson's record. Is that correct?
That is correct.
How did that opportunity come about?
She was a fan of the band and reached out through, at the time, a boyfriend of hers, and got in touch. And she sent over some demos, and the core of the songs were so true, raw, and beautiful that, I don't know if you've heard, but a lot of the world's been shut down for the last year. So we figured out a safe way to get together and make a record. And it was to watch someone who grew up in such a limelight, such a humongous family, be so vulnerable, true, and artistic like that. Those are the experiences that make producing records worth it, because I'll take moments from that on for the rest of my life. But she was a blast to work with and truly a great, great songwriter, and truly her rather than just Michael Jackson's daughter. And that's what, when we heard the demos, what made us excited is these are her songs rather than her trying to fit into a mold that would be expected.
Yeah, it sounds very cool. I'm very excited to hear the results of that. It's not a sentence I thought I'd ever say of Manchester Orchestra and Paris Jackson, but it's very exciting. Going back to the new record, The Million Masks of God, the record itself touches on birth and death and what happens afterwards. And
yes,
if you're okay to talk about it, and please let me know if not. I know that there was a more personal experience for yourself while going through the recording and the making of the record. Did you find I guess, was there any form of cathartic experience that you had in being able to go through this and be able to process or ruminate on those thoughts of life and death at the same time?
It's funny. We were speaking about this the other day, and I think because of the experience of my father passing and going through all of that, my memory's so separated of what I choose to carry from that time. But I started to kind of peel back the layers. And I think at that moment, I was making this record as the most healthy, unhealthy thing I could do, of like, I needed to bury myself somewhere, whether it was like in alcohol, drugs, or throwing my life away. For me, it was work, but there's a part of me that I knew that I had to push forward, but I couldn't feel certain emotions at that time. And so this album to me is an entire experience rather than a representation of grief, or it's a period of my life that I think I have a singular view that I'm excited if anyone can connect or take away from that. They're like, okay, shit does settle and it does get easier. But for me, this was the like, I got to pick up the pieces and move forward moment.
Yeah, of course. It's, again, obviously everyone's experiences are different. And while having a similar experience to yourself, I can only imagine what it would have been like, I guess, like recording and focusing on an album like that while going through that experience. Robert, thank you so much for your time today. We do wish you all the best for the new record, and thank you very much for being on the podcast.
Well, thank you so much, and I hope to be able to see you sooner rather than later.
That sounds great.
All right, thank you so much.
And that's our show. A massive thank you to Robert McDowell for his time. The new Manchester Orchestra record, The Million Masks of God, is out tomorrow. We've left links in the show notes to their website if you'd like to buy the record. We also want to give a huge shout out to Sose at Beehive PR for helping out with today's interview.
You've probably heard a lot about electrified vehicles lately. Well, Toyota has electrified options for every lifestyle. We've got hybrids, no plug needed.
Let's go.
But we also have plug-in hybrids, if that's your thing.
Woo-hoo.
You can even go 100% electric in the Toyota bZ4X. With so many options for reducing carbon emissions, Toyota is electrified, diversified. Learn more about our Beyond Zero vision for the future at toyota.com/beyondzero.